taking its sweet-ass time. I completely forgot the game updated. Yeah, we're at the mid-season refresh. Here we go. Have we played since the Splatfest? No, I think we did. We should run into Samuel. Oh, that would be smart. I should do that. Please, I think the new map's Jammin' Salmon Junction. Gosh, dang it. It's never... I don't know when the map came out, what, the first day of June? And now here we are at the end of July. And I've still... Maybe it came out the first day of July. I don't remember. It's been a while. Map came out a while ago. And I've still never seen it in the rotation. At least on the days I play. Alright. Let's start it up. So... For today's show, we have nothing to... We have no news. Just straight up, like, I looked at the news, and, like, there was a story about, like, Sakurai talking about the next Smash Bros. Game, and how, you know, it won't be a real Smash Bros. Game without him working on it. And he's not going to do it. I'm not going to say probably not. I mean, like, straight up, he's not going to do it. So there was that. There was... Oh, gosh. What were some of the other stories? I don't know, I read a few of the other stories, but literally, I was like, nothing I really want to talk about. Yeah, no, nothing I really want to talk about. I mean, the strike's still going on, and I know there have been stories about, like, how, I want to say it's like 100 productions or so, from, like, indie studios and studios not related to the AMPTP that have been allowed to continue making movies because they have basically agreed to the AMTP, or to the SAG-AFTRA Writers Guild. They have agreed to it. Right? They're like, yeah, we'll abide by your new rules. Yep. And whenever the new contract is eventually agreed upon, we'll go with that. Right, so when eventually the AMTPT does come back to the negotiating table, which they're refusing, like, SAG-AFTRA and the WGA want them to go back to the negotiating table, and they just straight up refuse. And instead, the strike has lost them enough money. The money they have lost in the strike is more than the money that they would have paid the writers if the strike had never happened. So, yeah. But no, they're still fighting the good fight. But yeah, there was a whole thing about, like, Sarah Silverman being confused about, like, hey, why do these indie movies get to continue? When we say strike, shouldn't we just not be working at all? And, like, I do definitely get that confusion, and God, don't even get me started on things like scabs of TikTok. But, no, I like, it is a complicated issue, but strike's still going and good for it. You know, I hope they eventually get everything they want. What else? Oh, God, there were other pieces of news, and I literally don't remember any of them. I don't know, but nothing I really wanted to talk about today. So instead, I guess it's just an all Wibby show, so it'll be like, I don't know, 30, 45 minutes. I say that, but we went for like 2 hours last week. Nah. I don't know, it's also, again, we're still in post-E3 season. Have we been getting some stories? Like, did I try to get myself a PS5 cover for that new Spider-Man game? Yes. Yes, I did. Did I get it? No. Am I still pissed that even a week later, Best Buy refuses to send me my amiibos? That I'm pretty sure at this point they're just going to straight up cancel the order. Because it's been several weeks at this point. Yes. And why they're refusing to send me them, I have no idea. Like, I've never had Best Buy fuck up this much. Yeah, I will, so we do have one video game to talk about, because even though Link's, Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Seasons did come to Nintendo Switch, I have not played them yet. Right? I've been talking about how I want to play Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Seasons, how excited I was for them, and I had just been waiting. And they finally did come out this week, and I just straight up haven't played them. Oh, goddamn. But no, I am excited. I will play them eventually. Just, I haven't yet. So that is the plan. But I do, there's a video game I do want to talk about. And then, after that, we got, I guess we'll talk about YouTube, I guess. Why not? Yeah, sure, we'll talk about some YouTube stuff real quick. And then we have some anime to talk about. Yep, we got some anime. And yeah, that's the show. You know, because anime is the one thing I can talk about that I'm watching. Because I have not watched, like, this is the first anime in, like, the past, like, 2 weeks, I've watched more anime than I have in, like, 6 months. Because I just haven't been watching anything. So, yeah. So, I guess let's start by talking about Five Nights at Freddy's. So, Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach came out, and I've watched several playthroughs of it, and I have some thoughts. Now, I do plan on playing this eventually, on stream actually, but I refuse to spend a full $40 on it. I'm either gonna get it used or at a discount, preferably used. But so far, I haven't found anything that's like, yep, you want this game? Pay the full $60. Okay, that's the one match of this I wanted to play. Yeah, so I have yet to find, sure. I have not played the game, but I said we will play it on stream at some point. Probably the PlayStation version, if I'm being honest. I think it's just easier to do the PlayStation version. So at some point that will happen. I just don't know when. If it ever goes on sale, or, you know, if I can find a used copy. I think they made physical versions of that game. That sounds like something they did. But yeah, but I have watched several people, Markiplier, Astral Spiff. I watched the highlights of FNaF, is that his name? I don't know, but I watched more, because, you know, I watched Security Breach through Markiplier. I think we talked about it at the time. Back in, what, December of 2020? Maybe early January. And then I found out about Astral Spiff after that, because, you know, his big claim to fame was Security Breach videos, and they're very entertaining videos. Haven't watched any of his stuff in a while, but I was like, for Ruin, you know, I'm curious to see what his playthrough is. So I did watch that, and yeah, it was... So, Ruin is a free DLC for Security Breach, for those who don't know. It is because the game was so bad at launch that the developers were like, oh, you know, we're gonna give them some free DLC. You know, hopefully this will tide people over. Or, you know, hopefully fucking, almost 2.5 years later. And, you know, Five Nights at Freddy's actually has a track record of doing stuff like this. Like when Scott made a game so bad that people, that he refunded everyone who bought the game on Steam. And then he fixed the game, gave it away for free, and then also put some free DLC in the game. FNaF, that was FNaF World. And I really commended Scott Cawthon at the time for doing all that. Like, he didn't have to. He could have just taken the money and run. And I know people don't like FNaF World. I thought it was fine. I Let's Played it back in the day. I had fun with it for, like, what it was. And we played the DLC. I don't think we ever beat it. I don't know. I think that there was a long period of time where I didn't do any videos. I didn't do any streams. And I want to say that started anyways, shortly after FNaF World came out. So, like, the last, like, 2 videos of FNaF World, I don't think ever came out. That's happened, like, twice. That was before I was doing Twitch or anything. That sounds right anyways. And so, yeah. Now, I'm not going to go over my history with FNaF. I've done that before. I Let's Played the first 4 games. Those all exist on the internet somewheres. Never played Security Breach. Never played other games after that. But Security Breach videos are varied. I once described Security Breach as some of the most fun I have had with a game I have never played. Up there with Fallout 76. Even though I have actually played Fallout 76 now. Yeah, I did eventually sit down and play Fallout 76. And I'll be honest, I didn't have a terrible time with it. It was just kind of like, oh, this is a thing that exists. Yep, sure enough. But, so, this new DLC, free DLC, it's you're playing as Cassie, who is one of the dead children from one of the previous games. The lore of FNaF is fucking stupid, right? Whenever people are like, how do you not write lore? FNaF is how you do it. Because, the best example I saw to complain, that FNaF is filled with cow tools. Or the term that I saw coined was Golden Freddies. A Golden Freddy is an idea, something like secret put into the game that leaves people asking questions, right? In the first game, it was Golden Freddy. The most famous Golden Freddy is not actually Golden Freddy, though. It's the box from FNaF 4. What's in the box? There was never an answer. The answer was whatever the community was going to come up with. And then when the community didn't come up with anything good, or anything that anybody liked, because Dream Theory, Scott just never opened the box. But yeah, Golden Freddy, the box from FNaF 4, Midnight Motorist from FNaF 6, tons of shit in Security Breach. The technical term for it is a cow tool. A cow tool is something that a writer puts into a story that has no answer, but fans will endlessly speculate on what that means. And it comes from a Far Side comic. You can look it up. And it's just... Because, you know, FNaF story is basically, hey, take whatever MatPat said and just, you know, change it a little bit. Because, I don't know, MatPat is in a hell of his own making. And Scott Cawthon is a fan of MatPat, or at least he was basing his lore around it. There's definitely something there. But then Security Breach had lore that made literally zero fucking sense. People have literally been trying to figure it out since the game released in, like December of 2020. And I feel like we've never gotten close because the lore doesn't make sense. Like, it's intentionally vague and misleading because there was never an answer. I don't care how much, oh, well, they changed the game before release. Oh, they did this, they did that. No, the lore, it's all fucking bullshit. And people waste an insane amount of time on it. Can it be entertaining? Has MatPat made some entertaining videos about it? Yes. But it still doesn't make... It's still bullshit. And in Security Breach, they did something that so many people hated that now they had to make a DLC just to fix that problem. Also, they wrote a bunch of books. Yeah, in the end of Security Breach, and what may be the canon ending, I don't know. Listen, I thought it was the canon ending because it's fucking stupid. And usually the stupidest answer is the correct answer. Was right, hey, guess what? William Afton is alive. And people hated that idea so much that the books literally created a new character called the Mimic, just so that we could be like, hey, William Afton's not alive. And that's the whole point of this DLC. Is the DLC takes the Mimic from the book universe and introduces it to the game universe just to solve that, hey, guess what? William Afton isn't actually alive anymore. That's it. That's the whole fucking point of this DLC, is to fix that one problem. Because people hated it so much, and rightfully so. It's kind of like how people hated the ending of FNaF 3, so he created FNaF 4 to fix it. And then when people didn't like the ending of FNaF 4, he created FNaF 5 to try to fix that. And then he created FNaF 6 as well, because, hey, guess what? Then he gave the game an actual ending, and then instead of moving on and doing something new, nope, he brought back William Afton, but this time he's a scary computer virus. Oh no, computer virus serial killer. It's a fucking mess of a series. So yeah, this entire DLC, what I was expecting was, it was like, hey, you're going to be the player character, and you're just going to be exploring the previous map from Security Breach. And I figured it was going to be like some sort of like open world thing, but no, it's actually a very linear story, because, you know, Security Breach got hounded for its obscene amount of bugs. And guess what? There are still bugs in this. I've seen plenty of glitches. But it's definitely, by making something super linear, they've definitely been able to fix that up. But it's you playing as Cassie, trying to find Gregory, going around the Pizzaplex, disabling these child nodes, which is an actual computer programmer term that I know nothing about. All while outrunning fucking Peg Trap. I think it's called like Black Bunny or something. And while you do that, oh, guess what? You're trying to save the Pizzaplex. Oh, you gotta save Gregory. And yeah, is it better? Is it bad? I mean, for Security Breach standards, I'd say it's better, because Security Breach is such a fucking train wreck. But like, really, at the core of this, like, this isn't the next big expansion of the lore. This isn't the next big thing. No, it's just, in my point of view, this is just fixing the burn trap problem. That's the whole point. This isn't the next big, like, expansion of the lore. We're just gonna do a DLC that fixes this one problem, and of course end on a weird ending, and we'll talk about that. 3 weird endings that make... Well, okay, one of them I think is fine. For, like, yep, this is stupid enough. The other 2 make no fucking sense to me, but I think one of them's that's the point. But there are, you know, there's some interesting... There's, like, this VR mask thing that you put on, and it literally has you teleporting between, like, the normal world and the VR world. And it's like, okay, this is... You know, Five Nights at Freddy's went hard sci-fi, like, 5 games ago now. So, yeah, sure, why not? The new character, Cassie, I don't actually hate. I really like... So, one of the few things I do like in Security Breach is Roxy. And no, it's not for the porn. It's because Roxy is, like, one of the only... Roxy and Freddy are the only characters with, like, actual personalities. That one scene of coming into Roxy and, like, into her room where she's just, like, crying has more personality than anything else in the game. By, like, again, except for Freddy, by, like, a country mile. So, you know, spending some more time with her... Finding out that Roxy is Cassie's favorite. Because, right, Gregory is still probably a robot. But Cassie isn't. She's definitely, like, a human who, you know, just befriended Gregory because nobody showed up at her birthday party. But, like, seeing that one moment where, like, Roxy's, like, thinks Cassie's Gregory and is, like, ready to kill him. And then she realizes her mistake, apologizes, talks about how she remembers Cassie, how no one showed up to her birthday party. And then Cassie fucking kills Roxy, kind of, not really. That's a great moment. Like, that's like, okay, you know, you put some heart into this. It's been a long time since these games have had a heart. Because, yes, Funtime Freddy is a good himbo. Or Rockstar Freddy, whatever fucking his name is. He's a good himbo. But, like, Gregory is nothing. Gregory has nothing to work off of. The simple concept of a kid who nobody showed up to their birthday party and then just meets this one random kid at the Pizzaplex and they become friends. I'm like, okay, there's more here than, you know, a lot of other things. You've got an emotional through line. And killing her, did it make me sad? No, of course fucking not. But it's like, okay, you're at least trying to have emotion here. Like, I'll give you an A for effort. So, like, like, Roxy, I think all the Roxy stuff works. There's some weird stuff in here. You can find Bonnie's corpse, right? Because Monty kills Bonnie in the original game to replace him, right? There are notes left around that signify that. And then I saw it when this DLC first came out, people were like, oh no, maybe Monty didn't kill Bonnie. No, Monty definitely killed Bonnie. Like, don't get it twisted. That hasn't been retconned yet. And then Chica, Pizza. There's a weird thing where you give her voice box, but it doesn't do anything. Now, this is what I'm with the timeline being confusing. Because, right, the whole reason they have to address all this burn trap shit is because of his ending. But is the canon ending of this game... Is the canon ending of Security Breach the Princess Quest ending? I think there are two big pieces of evidence for this. In this DLC, one of the collectibles you get are these comic book pages drawn by Gregory, right? They're comic book pages, and in fact, they're actually the sketch art of the endings from the original, from the base game. So, right, all like the one where he sets the building on fire, the one where they run away to Mexico, the one where William Afton gets murked by the Glob, or whatever its name is called. Yeah, these are all comic book pages. Of the 6 endings of the, maybe 5 endings, 6 endings, I kind of don't remember. Of the endings in the original game, the only one not represented in these collectibles is the Princess Quest ending. And I think that hints that maybe the Princess Quest ending is the canon one. But then the other detail is that they restored some of the cut content. The missing, in the Monty Golf section in the original game, there were only 9 courses, but in the code there were 18. In the DLC, they restored the missing 8 courses. That's neat. I like when they do something like that. I'm kind of disappointed they didn't add a bowling minigame. The other thing is they added the Chica. There was a Chica arcade game. Because in the base game, there was like a Balloon Boy arcade game that nobody ever... Again, it's a Golden Freddy. It doesn't make any sense. Nobody knows what it's doing there. It doesn't do anything. Well, this game, right, there's a Chica minigame that is, you know, like a bullet hell or whatever. And for beating it, you get Chica's voice box. Now, if the burn trap ending is the true ending of the game, then shouldn't Chica's voice box be in Freddy's head? Because you have to kill all 3 animatronics, but it's not. You get it as Cassie, and then you can go give it to Chica. It doesn't do anything, but the fact that it's not in Freddy makes me think that, oh, maybe Gregory didn't destroy Chica. Maybe Chica just got destroyed on her own because she's a fucking idiot, and she lost her voice box. And then as Cassie, you can give it back to her. So that's what I think that is. I do think they are leaning towards the Princess Quest. I know there's that whole thing where you find Freddy's discarded corpse without a head, which is part of the Princess Quest ending, but on his foot it says prototype, and I feel like that's the developers not willing to commit. Right? They were all set to make the Princess Quest ending canon, but then at the last minute you get that one back step that is that prototype. Because that's really, in my opinion, that's really the only major piece that's like, yep, no, right? Because now how that prototype got there, why that's there in the first place, makes no fucking sense. Right? Where did this prototype come from? Why does it not have a head? There is no explanation. It's something that doesn't make sense. Because it's some fucking bullshit. Because, again, Five Nights at Freddy's story will never make sense. Right, this is Pat's eternal hell. Because it's a hell of his own making. Because to give people an answer, to give people an ending, would mean that you can no longer do anything else. Right? Once you have an ending, or an ending that makes sense, people stop giving a shit. Honestly, I stopped giving a shit for a long time. And then Security Breach was such a dumpster fire that I was like, oh, this is kind of funny. I wasn't laughing with it. I was definitely laughing at it. Let's put it like that. But yeah, so what are the endings? So you go down, so throughout the entire game, this mimic is talking to you, and Gregory is talking to you, but guess what? It's the mimic. It was the mimic the whole time. Everybody knew it. So the mimic was this concept introduced in the books. He's like this robot who mimics the people around him, and he's mimicking, right? The mimic saw the murders at the Pizzaplex or at the FNaF locations. Somehow he saw the murderers, and he started mimicking them. Now, I remember in the build-up to Security Breach, like, one of the ideas, instead of bringing William Afton back, they should have just introduced a copycat killer. Because there's this trope, I legitimately, I would not be surprised if there is actual no proof that this exists. Like, I would not be surprised if there is no real-life example of this, if this only comes from books and movies, but the idea of a copycat killer. That people read about serial killers and then start copying them. And that's why, like, police don't release certain data on serial killers for fear of people copying them. I would not be surprised if that's entirely, like, a book thing made up for, like, books and movies. If it, like, never has actually happened. But, you know, it might have. People are fucking weird like that. So, yeah, like, the obvious thing is FNaF should have introduced a copycat killer, Vanny. And then they fucking didn't. Instead, they brought William Afton back and it pissed everybody off, rightfully so. Because, again, the lore sucks. So, now they've introduced this mimic, who is a copycat killer. So much so that he was literally making himself look like William Afton. He was Burn Trap at the end. And they introduced this concept in the books, and it was like, okay, it's only a matter of time until they bring it to the games. And here it is, brought to the games. Because you get down to the end, you destroy this black hair Mixus thing, which... where did this come from? No fucking idea. Does it really matter? I don't know. But you basically turn it off, and then Cassie lets the mimic go. You have a really short sequence where you run away from the mimic. Like, you know, this would have been a cool... like, I know Poppy Playtime is kind of whatever, but, you know, Poppy, for all of its problems, the chase scene at the end of the original Poppy Playtime, not bad. You know, for like a short little... especially because I played it for free. because, you know, they eventually gave it away for free. For, like, a short little, like, chase sequence from a free game, like, what is basically an advanced demo, it's not a bad thing. Like, they could have taken some influence from that, which, you know, I know we're fucking snake eating its own tail, but whatever. But no, it said you go left 3 times. Or you go right 3 times. And that's it. And you get to the end, you get in this elevator, it cuts off the Mimic's hand, which the Mimic has, like, the burn trap claws, which is, like, because they never actually say the Mimic is burn trap, but it's got the claws, it's clearly implied to be. And then, as the elevator's going up, Gregory comes over the intercom and is like, we can't let whatever was down, right, using the plural, so he's clearly working with somebody else, or, you know, he's talking about himself and Glamrock Freddy, again, or he's talking about himself, Glamrock Freddy and Vanessa, if it's the Princess Quest ending, whatever, he's like, we can't let it leave, so he crashes the elevator and kills Cassie, or at least, it's implied he kills Cassie. I mean, at the end, you get this one scene of, like, Roxy being like, Cassie, and that's where it ends. That's clearly the canon ending. That's like, yep, this is canon, this is what's happening. You know, if they decide to make the 3rd ending canon, who fucking knows? I don't think it's called because, you know, everyone just assumes, again, Burn Trap is the canon ending because it's the stupidest, and it pisses the most people off, and, like, guess what? That happens all the time. But no, I do fully suspect that that's the canon ending. It's mainly because the other 2 make no fucking sense. So the Brazilian ending, as it's called, which I have no idea why it's called the Brazil ending. My first guess is that I know there is a term like going to Brazil or something like that, that has specific connotations, but I could not actually tell you what those connotations are. Instead, my first guess was, is it called the Brazil ending as a reference to the sci-fi movie Brazil? Because basically the ending is you find this cardboard cutout randomly here. You put on your mask, and then you see, like, this scene of Gregory and Helpy and, I want to say, Freddy and Vanessa. The only time Vanessa shows up in the entire thing. Because, yeah, that's another problem with the Burn Trap ending, is it never even mentions Vanessa. It makes no... You know, honestly, the canon ending of Security Breach is probably none of the endings. It's probably going to be some hybrid of, like, the Burn Trap and Princess Quest endings. Again, the lore is fucking stupid. I'm going to keep saying it, because it is. But yeah, so you go to Brazil, and you get this, like, in the moments before Cassie is killed... She gets this, like, happy moment where it's like, hey, she's reunited with her friend, and everything end well. It makes no sense, but hey, they put it in there as, like, a little Easter egg. It reminds me of the good ending, the non-canon ending of Sister Location, where you just go home and watch TV, and then Innard, like, slowly creeps up on you. Right? It's kind of like that, where it's like, oh yeah, you made it out, right? Oh yay. It makes no sense. And then the final ending, which confuses the fuck out of me, is so you can find these hidden cameras while you're playing through the game, and if you turn on all 4 hidden cameras, it opens up these doors in the final chase sequence. But when you go into the final chase sequence, the Mimic isn't... Right, it's not the same... It's the Mimic, but he's wearing, like, it looks like a Triceratops mascot costume. Yeah, he's wearing, like, this weird, like, decrepit mascot costume. Like, if he looked like Burn Trap, I would be like, okay, I guess that makes sense. Because, you know, again, they're implying that the Mimic was Burn Trap. But no, he's instead wearing this, like, weird T-Rex costume... It reminds me of a dinosaur. I don't know what it's actually supposed to be, but it reminds me of a Triceratops. But with, like, a fucking, what is that called? A Letterman jacket. And I guess in the background, people have lit up the scene, and there's, like, an elephant in a penguin mascot costume as well. What the fuck this means, I have no idea. But you do the chase sequence, but this time with the Mimic and these mascot costume. And then at the end, you go down these secret doors, and you go into the scooper room. And there's, like, this new, like, advanced scooper. And then in what is basically a callback to the end of the original Security Breach, where Burn Trap, like, attacks and kills... Or where the Blob attacks and kills Burn Trap, right? The scooper attacks the Mimic and scoops it. And I think it is the scooper, because I think the ending is called the scooper ending. But yeah, and that's how it ends. It ends with the Mimic being killed by the scooper. Why the scooper's here, what's going on. Again, the lore is fucking stupid, it makes no sense. But it's clearly, like, symbolic. Kind of like how the, right, even if Vanessa isn't Elizabeth Afton and has no relationship to Elizabeth Afton, she's clearly symbolic of Elizabeth Afton. And, right, the Princess Quest ending is symbolic of the family being reunited once again. That's kind of what, right, the Mimic being scooped is symbolic of Burn Trap being killed by the Blob. That's clearly what that's going for. At least, that's my interpretation of it. Now, supposedly, these 3 costumes are a reference to the book. The books, which I've never read the books, I will never read the books. If I was, okay, if I was a kid, like, if I was in, like, middle school, I would fucking love these books. Because I was a Goosebumps kid. In elementary and middle school, I read every Goosebumps. Except for, I want to say there's, like, 3 I never read. Like, I looked it up at some point. There were, like, 3 I didn't read. I read every one of them. I remember when the new books were releasing for a time period. God, I loved those books. And the FNaF books are basically just Goosebumps. Right? They're the modern day equivalent of Goosebumps. So I'm sure I would have loved them. But I'm now a mid-20-something adult. I have no interest in them whatsoever. But yeah, I guess the 3 puppet mascot costumes are a reference to the books. But that literally fucking just makes things even more complicated. And it does that thing of giving MatPat his evidence that the books matter. Because, yeah, the books matter. Was it Fiznom who did the drinking... he did a drinking stream where every time MatPat said the word book, he took a shot? Yeah, it was Fiznom. But yeah, so that's Security Breach Ruin. Again, we'll play it at some point on stream. I'm gonna do it eventually. But yeah, it's again, is it bad? I don't think so. But I guess it's got the bigger problem of being adjacent to the overall FNaF lore, which is just kind of fucking stupid. Entertaining? Oh, hell yeah. Stupid? Yes. And yes, they can be both. You can be both entertaining and stupid. So yeah, do I recommend playing it? No, but I'd recommend go watch Markiplier play it. Because he's fucking Markiplier. I don't actually really watch that much Markiplier, but I really enjoyed Markiplier's playthrough of Security Breach. It was really good. Especially when the game drove him insane at the end. Because he did not have a fun time. Because again, the game is a buggy, broken fucking mess. I'm excited for VR 2 though. I played FNaF VR, and I had so much fun. FNaF VR was a great idea. Alright, so our next story... So, sticking on the YouTube train... So, about a year ago... Eddie Burbank... Eddie Burbank? Burbank? Oh, God. Reading the last name. Well, I get it. He put out a video about going to every Rainforest Cafe in the country. And I remember people talking about it at the time and being like, oh, that's neat. That seems like a... That's like one of... Eddie Burbank. Okay, I was right. I was like, oh, that's one of those crazy ideas. Okay, neat. I remember Rainforest Cafe. I don't think I ever went to a Rainforest Cafe, but I remember seeing them in Vegas, in Phoenix? I think I remember seeing them in Phoenix, especially. Or maybe Tucson, I don't know. I don't know if we ever had one here. I don't think so, though. And I'm sure, I know they still do in Austin and Houston and Galveston. But I remember that video, and I remember everybody talking about it. I actually didn't watch it. I just remember people talking about it. But this week he put out a sequel where he went to every Margaritaville in the country. And I saw everybody talking about it, and I was like, I should watch the Rainforest Café video, and I should watch the Margaritaville video. So I did. I watched both. And I've actually seen I've been falling asleep to the Margaritaville video for the past, 3 days. So I've seen it I've at least heard it several times while I fall asleep. Why have I been falling asleep to it? Because I have nothing else to fall asleep to. Because I need sound, actual, somebody talking. I can't do white noise. I need, actual words. And, the playlist I was listening to, I've been listening to the same playlist for, months now. It got fucking taken down off YouTube. The creator, got, a strike or whatever, and they just decided to fucking nuke their old channel and all of their old videos. So, once that was taken down, it's okay, I've had nothing else, and I cannot fall asleep to ASMR. I want ASMR to work, and it just doesn't for me. But back on topic, so I watched the Rainforest Cafe video. Very fun, very entertaining. I have not watched the other perspective, Ted's perspective. I've just watched Eddie's. I should. And I'll probably get around to it eventually. But, so I watched that, and I was like, okay, pretty good. Now I'm super excited to watch the Rainforest Cafe, or the Margaritaville video. And so the thing about Margaritaville, the song, yeah, we're talking about the song, is that it's a song about killing yourself. Not literally killing yourself, it's not about suicide, but it's about drinking yourself to death, right? You're wasting away in Margaritaville. You're waking up not knowing where you are with strange new tattoos. Margaritaville is not a fun place to be. It's not a place you want to go to. Of course, most Jimmy Buffett fans miss that point. But I feel like this video gets it. That, yeah, you don't want to go to Margaritaville. You're wasting away. Because that's exactly what they're doing. They're going to multiple Margaritavilles in a single day. They are literally wasting away. I mean, they're, I want to say he literally mentions that he's going to kill Ted at one point. This gets to the heart of the song way better than anything else, right? Because the whole Margaritaville, it's it's a restaurant. It's a hotel. It's basically one step away from a theme park. You're missing the whole fucking point at the song. That you don't want to be in Margaritaville. It's a bad place to be. The only other thing I've seen that actually gets the point of the song is, I want to say, fucking Regular Show. They went to, I want to say it was called Dumpsville, and and Mordecai was literally wasting away there. It was killing him. So I feel like this video is a great examination of, yeah, Margaritaville. Wasting away. But the actual thing is just so entertaining. They go, him trying to be more like Jimmy Buffett, that costing him everything, because, he's going insane. They're just eating all this fried fish and shitty burgers, and it's just awful. And, you get your good moments as well, them going to the one in Atlanta and being helped out after hours. It's oh, that's, they're doing something stupid, but yeah, that's kind of sweet. Again, it shows the kindness of people, not corporations. And then it ends with them finally going back. They go all the way across the country. They end up in Vegas. I love when they go back to the Rainforest Cafe. Because, again, you get those setups of him seeing the Rainforest Cafes that were, you know, across the street from the ones he had previously been to, and it just haunting him. But yeah, it's a great video. I highly recommend it. I recommend both of them. And I know he says this is the last time he's going to do it. I've been in this YouTube business long enough to know that's not true. Especially because, you know, most things come in trilogies. I mean, everything ends eventually. But no, I would not be surprised if he does another one. What is that other one entail? Well, my first thought was Planet Hollywood. Because Planet Hollywood fits into that Rainforest Cafe, you know, that theme restaurant that's trying to capture that very specific experience, you know. Go see the Kane from Citizen Kane, you know, shit like that. But I looked it up out of curiosity, and I'm pretty sure there's only like 3 or 6 Planet Hollywoods left in the world. There's not that many Planet Hollywoods left. So, you know, that'd be a lot. You could do that in fucking just like 3 flights. 1 to Miami, 1 to Los Angeles, and 1 to New York. I've eaten at the Planet Hollywood. I think it was the one in New York. I think that's the one I had. I kind of don't remember. But, like, that was my first idea. It's like, oh yeah, you do all of the Planet Hollywoods. A lot of people were suggesting Hard Rock Cafe, which I'll be honest, I know a lot less about. And yeah, I guess that could be an interesting one, but I feel like there are a lot of Hard Rock Cafes. Like, it would not surprise me if there were like 70 of those. I know a lot of people suggested Bubblegum Shrimp, which, again, I think also fits that idea, but I have no idea. I've also eaten at Bubblegum Shrimp, both in New York and in LA, or in like Anaheim or whatever. Yeah, I think that sounds right. So that'd be an interesting one. I also saw somebody suggest Medieval Times, which I think that could also be interesting because I've been to Medieval Times. You know, ended in Vegas, and with do they still do it at the Excalibur? I have to assume they still do a show at the Excalibur. It's on brand at least. But no, I can see that as well. But I do think there will, even though he says we're not going to do this again, I could totally see this happening again. Now, if it gets views, they'll do it again. And it's for like, I don't know, the first like 5 days the video was out, it was all everyone on my feeds were talking about. So I could totally see it happening again. It's just super entertaining. So yeah. Let's see, what else do I got here? Mads Buckley put out a new song, Dogbird. And it's been a lot of what I've been listening to. That, and I listened to fucking Folklore again because I don't know. I think that's my favorite Taylor Swift album, Folklore. Yeah, I've been thinking about it recently because as part of one person I follow on Twitch, one of the only movie guys I follow, did a thing about how they ranked their favorite Taylor Swift albums, and I was like, you know, my favorite's probably Folklore. So I was like, oh, I listened to that again. But yeah, so Dogbird, it's a song about, right, being in a relationship, a lesbian relationship, but having this internalized trauma. Because the dog, right, is, you know, trained. And there's a great fucking line about, right, I'm a hunting dog, and bird is all they feed me. Because the bird is, you know, the partner. And it's like, oh, that's fucking great. And the line about the parents as well. Like, oh, don't... what is it? Don't blame me for when my parents are around, or something like that. You know, it's funny, because, yeah, I've been listening to the song for... It's not the only thing I've been listening to, but the primary thing. Just on repeat. And yet, I could not tell you any specifics. you get to the point where you're listening to it so much that you're no longer hearing it, if that makes any sense. But it's really good. I enjoy Matt Buckley stuff. They're, it's weird because they started off in like fandom and making music for fucking My Hero Academia, but then it just fucking hits to the core, and I'm like, ah, shit, this is good. It's up my alley. I am definitely not averse to like YouTuber / TikTok music. I know TikTok has put out some fucking horrendous shit, but it's also put out some good. Listen, for TikTok misses 100 times or 99. Yeah, TikTok misses 99 times, but that one time it hits, oh, does it hit? And yeah, I do like Matt Buckley stuff. Oh god, speaking of TikTok, I saw on Twitter those Skibidi toilets. And I finally was like, oh, why is everybody fucking talking about this? It's like some Gen Alpha thing. And, god, fucking Matt Pat put out a video today. And I saw an out-of-context clip. And it's Matt Pat being Matt Pat. If you've ever seen that, those out-of-context Matt Pat videos, it's like, what the fuck is he talking about? Like, I've gone on stretches before. But Matt Pat's the fucking king of it. So, yeah, those Skibidi toilets. And I saw the one where it's like a DJ in like a dance club. And people were being like, these kids these days... Because I do feel like that is... Right, a lot of this is just... Oh, because millennials have definitely entered their boomer phase of not getting what the younger generation is into, right? I used to be with it, but now what's it is weird and strange. It happened to me, it'll happen to you. Millennials are so in that phase. But I watched this Skibidi toilet, and yeah, it was just being like, oh, what? I don't fucking get this at all. Look at the shit kids listen to or watch. And it's like, no, I remember fucking YouTube poops. It's kind of crazy that even, like, fucking 15 years later, Gmod is still being used for shit like this. Because, yeah, even when I was a lot younger, Gmod was one of the big things you made, like, that and fucking the Zelda CDI and Hotel Mario. And, yeah, Gmod's still getting its use with these fucking weird, these toilets that sing this one song, and you have peoples with cameras for heads that have a different song, and you have people with speakers for heads that play Everybody Wants to Rule the World, and then you have people with TVs for heads that do the little ooh faces, and then it fucking escalates into like this big like conflict with giant robots and toilets shooting lasers out of their eyes. Do I get it? No. Do I get why Gen Alpha likes it? I think so. Or, like, do I get why somebody would like it? I think so. Because watching it, you see that sort of evolution. You see how things change and grow, right? Like, as I'm watching this, it's like, oh, we're going to introduce, right? It starts off with, like, the toilets invading. And then the camera guys are fighting them back. And then they start losing, so they introduce speaker head guys. And then the toilets start losing, so they introduce fucking mind control. And it's like this escalation of force that keeps going back and forth. Like, I get it, right? Like, I guess the guy who's creating them, who's named, like, Da Fuck, is one of, like, or not one of, but he is the fastest growing YouTube channel. And potentially could have like more subscribers than fucking like Tencent or PewDiePie if he keeps growing at the rate he's currently growing, which seems wild, but it's a fucking new generation. I'm just a fucking millennial boomer yelling at clouds. So no, I legitimately have no problem with it. It's literally no different than what I was fucking into. Even though I never really had a YouTube poop phase. Like, I was definitely on the outskirts of it. I definitely remember some of the older ones. But, is... I never really got into that kind of style of humor. So, yeah. Fucking Skibidi doo but so I guess let's talk about anime. So, what anime have I been watching? Well, a few weeks ago, I mentioned that I was watching Horimiya, and I know the second season is currently airing, and I think we're like 5-6 episodes in. I'll be honest, I have not watched a single episode. No, I've only seen the first season, and I liked it. I mean, it's what I like about it as a romance anime is that the couple actually gets together. You know, an anime I really enjoy. If it's a fucking mess, it's really sloppy. It's really ugly. Not in like that. It's like bad to look at. I mean, like in like the sloppy, messy romance sort of way. Is called Gamers. And right, it's about these, you know, people who... It's not about video games. It's about people who play video games. And all the love... I think it's a love pentagram. Or pentagon. Right? All of their fucking issues. But one of the things I really like about that show is that the main couple gets together in, like, the 6th episode. Like, halfway through the show. The guy goes to the girl to ask, like, hey, do you want to be... Basically, he goes to friend zone her. And there's all this other bullshit going on in the background about how people think they're cheating on each other. And during his confession of, like, hey, do you want to be friends? Can I put you in the friend zone? Right? They're all, like, convinced everyone's cheating on everybody else. It's a fucking mess. Again, I love it. I love it. It's a disaster. And then he confesses... And he's like, hey, do you want to be friends? And she's like, nope, I want to be your girlfriend. And it's like, oh, shit. And yeah, they're dating from that point on for the rest of the show. And I liked in this show, yeah, like 5 episodes in, right? They both admit their feelings for each other. And then they're dating, right? Like, I wish shit like that happened in, like, My Dress Up Darling, which was a show I enjoyed. But yeah, like 4 episodes in... She internalizes like, hey, I have feelings for this guy. And then throughout the rest of the show, it's just like them acting on the border of things. We're going to talk about another romance anime tonight. And that's it. Like a few episodes in, it's very obvious they have feelings for each other. Because, you know, the childhood friend always loses. So it's like they're going to end up together. But nope, they just can never do it. Well, we'll talk about that. But yeah, so it was cool to see them end up together. My big problem with the show is that I just don't really care for the supporting characters. Like, I like the main characters, and the supporting characters are fine. But they get, like, entire episodes about them, and I'm just like, I just don't care as much. Like, I don't hate them or anything. But yeah, the main characters get together, and then, you know, you spend an episode with her friend, who, you know, is having, whether this guy's gonna ask her out or not, and how she's gonna reject him. Or there's a guy in, like, the student council vice president, and the student council vice president has a crush on him, but he ends up turning her down, or, like, because she eventually gets asked to know that she's gonna be let down, that he's gonna reject her. And, like, that, and that's, I think, one of the better ones, is the student council vice president. But they do it kind of weird. Like, I kind of wish they had spent more time, like, directly on it. But, like, the student council vice president is kind of like a supporting character of a supporting character. That being the student council president. But I was like, yeah, it's good. I see why everybody really likes it. It's that one, again, the confession alone puts it leagues above other romance animes. But... yeah, I just thought it was fine. It really... I started off really strong with it. But by the end of it, yeah, I kind of struggled to... like, just the last, like, 4 episodes, I kind of struggled to finish. Will I watch the second season? Oh, yeah, definitely. But it's just probably not until it's finished airing. So probably not for, I don't know, like a month or 2. So I watched... so that's one show. the other show is I watched a... Well, okay, it's not an isekai, but, like, it's basically just one step removed. I mean, it even has reincarnation in it. So it's called The Misfit at Demon King Academy. I want to say it's like 2019 or something. I don't know. It's a few years old at this point. But it's been on my list, and it was like... And I was scrolling through TikTok or whatever, and, like, I saw a clip from it, and I was like, you know, maybe I should finally just, like, watch it, or... I don't know. Somehow it got into my consciousness again recently. And I was like, you know, maybe I should watch... I should just, like, get it done with. Get it off the list. You know, 12 episodes. Oh, you know, it might be because its second season is, like, currently airing or something. I think it has something to do with that. Maybe. But I was like, yeah. So I watched the first episode, and I didn't love it, honestly. I think, so it's this guy who's the reincarnation of the Demon King. And, you know, it's like, oh, he was just born, like, a month ago, and now he's, like, a fully grown teenager. And I do like his parents. The Demon King's parents are very, like, peppy, and, like, they clearly love their son and want the best for him. And it's very wholesome. And I'm like, okay, that's good, that's cute. But the Demon King himself is such a fucking Mary Sue. Like, I know most fucking isekai protagonists are just Mary Sues with, unstoppable powers, right? It's gotten to the point where where isekais are making fun of themselves now. Like, there was one show that's like, oh, I asked you to put... When I asked to be reincarnated to another world, I said to not make me very powerful. Or some shit like that. And so... Right, it's a point where it's become a parody of itself. Because isekai is basically power fantasy wish fulfillment. And so... Right, the main... And he also, because he's like this reincarnation of this Demon King, and he has all of his memories... It's kind of... He's just kind of... He's very dry. Like, I watched dub, of course. Because, you know, I'm a dub guy. And, you know, the voice actor is doing him as... You know, he's giving it his all. But it's just... You were only given so much to work with here. Do I hate the show? No. Do I love it? Also, definitely no. It's just kind of fucking weird. Because there's this whole Demon King Academy, and he's... Like, his first big conflict is with these two sisters. Of which, even though he's clearly romantically with, like... It's clearly romantically setting him up with them. Because, you know, it's a harem anime, of course it is. He also never really expresses... Like, he never even gets close to, like, kissing one. Even on, like, accident. Even though he clearly has, like, feelings for the Ice Queen one. The... Oh god, what's the word? Kundere? Whatever the saying is. Right, he's clearly got feelings for one of them. But, like, or it's, right, the show wants him to have feelings. But it's never really expressed that way. The only time they really talk about it like that is when his dad talks about him being in a harem. Because at the end of every, right, whenever he brings over the girls to his house. But so he's dealing with the two sisters and trying to make up their bond. This show definitely implies early on, and at least that's what I thought it was implying, that the one sister is a reincarnation of the legendary hero. Because basically a long time ago, the legendary hero killed the Demon King to end the war and bring peace to the realm. And, like, that was the Demon King's, like, plan. But, and it's like, oh, maybe one day we'll be reincarnated and we'll be friends together. And nope. They say that in an episode, and then he immediately meets the sister. And it was like, oh, maybe he's just reincarnated without his memories. Especially because in a later episode, they bring up that, yeah, you can be reincarnated without your memories. Of course, that ends up being a fake out, but you don't know that at the time. So I thought that's kind of what they were implying there. But no. And then, yeah, in a later episode, you get introduced to this. He basically, back when he was the Demon King, his, like, right-hand man was, like, the swords master. And now, right, this guy with the exact same hair color, who looks very similar, comes in and is a master swords fighter, so it's like, oh, it's the reincarnation of his friend. And he gets an entire arc about, like, saving his mother who's dying from, like, spirit disease or whatever. Because, you know, there's a lot of political stuff here about, like, there's basically in the demon realm, there are purebloods and hybrids. And, like, he's considered, like, a misfit because he's a hybrid, the main character, which is where the title comes from. And yeah, so it's like pure bloods, and like there's all this political movement. Like there's a whole, basically a political faction that's like, hey, if the Demon King is a hybrid, then maybe, right, that'll give the Unity Party something to stand by. And then there's the Royalist Party that believes in basically pure bloods and whatnot. And then he does, okay, one of the things he does do that I do like is there's this teacher who's fucking hates him because he's a hybrid. And so at some point she gets really pissed off because he beats up her brother or whatever. So the teacher tries to, like, kill his mom. And so as punishment, he doesn't kill her, but instead turns the teacher into a hybrid. And I know there's a second season, so I'm like, oh, that'd be cool if she, like, comes back seeking revenge or whatever. It's like, there's a plot line there. Okay, that's interesting. Or maybe not, I don't know. Fucking isekai animes. Again, it's not technically an isekai, but it's like one step removed. So, like, that was interesting, but eventually they save him and blah, blah, blah. Then they go to the Hero Academy, and there's a weird point in the Hero Academy where there's just, like, this really random cut, because there's also, like, this fake Demon Lord, and the fake demon, and, like, nobody remembers the Demon Lord is the Demon Lord. Instead, they remember this fake Demon Lord. And so, like, you get this point where it's, like, the hero and demon schools battle, and at the very end, the battle gets, like, in a really weird cut, it gets, like, interrupted by the fake Demon Lord who comes and claims, like, this legendary demon-killing sword. And it's, like, weird. But yeah, and there's, like, this whole plan to, like, kill all the demons by having this one girl who was, like, created with magic clone the same person, like, 1,000 times and basically turn them into, like, suicide bombers. Yeah, no, it's basically suicide bombers. Because they expect to, like, go to the Hero Academy, and he's hoping to find the reincarnation of the hero. But then he learns that, no, the hero hasn't reincarnated because the hero was killed by humans. So he basically, in theory, the hero turned his back on humanity. But, you know, there's this whole arc where, like, a battle between demons and heroes. And they do a thing where hero magic is offensive magic and demon magic is very defensive. Even though, you know, the main character is, like, fucking OP as hell and can one-shot kill. That's, I think, just the main character, right? Like, that's the purpose of the main character. Like, demon magic is all about, like, building castles and then shooting fucking giant laser guns out of those castles. But it eventually all comes to a head with the fake Demon Lord showing up. And so the main character gets into a one-on-one conflict with the fake Demon Lord, where you find out the fake Demon Lord was actually the swordsman. Yep, they do a fake out, because they set up that, hey, the swordsman's a reincarnation of this guy. When nope, the swordsman is a reincarnation of the hero, and the hero actually planned, he basically created a fake Demon Lord with the plans of eventually killing that fake Demon Lord to prevent a war. Because he knew that after because the Demon Lord dies, but the hero lived on. And he saw, like, another war brewing, right? This one character filled with so much hatred, he basically gets the hero gets Julius Caesar. And so after that, he rewrites the world to create a fake Demon Lord, and he plans to basically sacrifice himself as the fake Demon Lord. But instead, the hero sacrifices himself as the fake Demon Lord and fakes his death and yada yada yada. And yeah, it's all well that ends well. You know, the hero gets recognized as the real Demon Lord. The main character gets recognized as the real Demon Lord. One of the fangirls who's, like, supporting him as, like, the Unity Party ends up falling in love with the hero. And, like, part of the reason the main character is like, oh, I can't let you kill yourself. and, right, sacrifice the fake demon lord is because you love her. So, right, you get your blossoming romance at the end, even though, again, the hero isn't romantically involved with anybody. There is still a romance here. And I'll be honest, I don't think it feels if it was like, I don't think it feels forced. Like, I can kind of see it. Especially because at one point, you know, the girl who's half spirit, like, meets his mother and helps him out. So, like, I see where it's coming from. And yeah, that's where the show ends, with them going back to school. All that ends well. Yay. It's whatever. Again, I feel like I'm very lenient on anime. I always have been very lenient on anime. Like, I could see how somebody could watch this show and give it like a 3 out of 10. But, you know, I put it in the middle. And then the final show. So I talked about romance. And, like, I've been watching these over the past, like... Horimiya I've been watching for like a month now. It took me forever. The other two I've been working on for the past, like... I don't know, like 2 weeks. About. Probably less. Probably a week and a half. But the last one was, an anime that just based off the title, I was like, okay, this could be fun. It's called More Than a Married Couple, but Not Lovers. And I was like, oh, that sounds like a fun, like, rom-com anime. I don't remember who recommended it to me at one point. But I was like, oh, that could be fun. So basically the story takes place in a post-apocalyptic, not a post-apocalyptic, an alternate universe Japan, where Shinzei Abe was able to create a program where in high school, kids have to take a marriage practical exam, where a guy and a girl have to live together as if they're a married couple, and they score points based on their interactions together. Okay, that first part about the whole alternate universe is never actually said in the show, but that's how I'm choosing to take it. Shinzei Abe didn't die for nothing, you hear me? That's a joke. I don't actually care. I just think of the Spy Family meme. Whatever. So, right, it's this guy who's, you know, your typical nerdy guy, sits at the back corner of the classroom, anime protagonist. And he has a crush on his childhood friend, who also has a crush back on him. But of course, they'll never say they have a crush on each other. So with this marriage exam coming up, where they have to live together for like a full, like, year. Well, he wants to be paired with her, of course, his childhood friend. But instead, he gets paired with this gal. Right, this Gauru. I'm just gonna say gal. This gal who's, you know, the pretty popular girl who likes to wear skimpy clothes, who has her gal friends. He's constantly calling her a virgin like it's fucking 1990s Hocus Pocus. Yeah, that kind of shit. I don't know. I don't hate gals. I mean, one of my favorite mangas right now is Sherry's Love is 8 Meters. And I recommend that manga. I know they're again, it's a romance anime where they're not together, but it's still very cute and very wholesome. And Sherry is a gal in that, so I don't hate gals by any means. It's just a character type. But she's definitely the main character in this, Akari, or the girl, definitely reminds me of like the My Girlfriend is a Gal, like the main character from that, who kind of drives me crazy, but that's a whole other story. I think the show drives me crazy. That show fucking pisses me off so much, but that's a whole other thing. But so, right, they're stuck living together, and, you know, she's, like, disappointed. She's stuck with this nerd because she's got a guy she's interested in. He's disappointed because he's got a girl he's interested in. So they agree to, like, work together, because if they get, like, in the top 10 scores of the month, they're able to switch partners. So that's inevitably what they're working for. But of course, based on the whole conceit of this being a romance anime, you know they're going to fall in love with each other. And yeah, definitely over the course of the show, I mean, he definitely has moments with her, right? Like, he definitely has moments where he's crushing on her, But for the most part, it's her just, like, internally monologuing how much she loves him. And it's a fucking mess of a show. Because, right, it's all the will they, won't they. It all comes down to communication. If they were just to be honest with each other and talk about their feelings, it would solve, like, half of the problems in the show. But, of course, they never will be. There are some cute moments, you know, they have fun together. I think the like, final 2 episodes are, like, beach episodes. So, you know, there's fun there, but, you know, there's tons of marital drama and whatnot, because, you know, they're pretending to be a married couple. I don't know, there was that one show, Over the Moon for You, that was also about, like, a young married couple, and I thought that was so much better. That, like, on the concept of, like, a married couple, like, a young married couple living together, that one did it great. But this is kind of weird. You know, one of the things that I do find kind of weird is that even though, right, everyone at this school is taking this marriage exam, you only ever hear about the 2 main characters, right, the nerd and the gal, and then you hear about their crushes, because they're, of course, based on the conceit of the show, their crushes are together, and so they want to switch. Even though, again, technically the show ends before that can actually happen. But other than that, like, the nerd has, like, a nerdy best friend who's, you know, he's not as bad as, he's just generic nerd friend. Like, he's not as bad as anyone from My Girlfriend is a Gal, which, again, fucking drives me crazy. The friends in that show are fucking awful. The pedophile, man. The pedophile. Ugh, that show pisses me off. Besides the point. Right, he's not as bad as that, but he's this weird nerdy guy. You never find out who he's partnered with. The girl he has got a crush on, the shy girl, she's got, like, a best friend who may be a lesbian. Like, a girl confesses to her in one of the episodes and they overhear it, but they never really talk about it after that. And, like, I guess it's kind of hinted that she might have a crush on the shy girl, but again, they never really go into details on that outside of, like, a glance or two. So I don't know, but yeah, her partner, never hear about them. The gal has 2 gal friends, never hear about any of their partners. And yeah, so that's one of those things where it's like, because I could see this whole show being told from, like, 4 characters in 4 relationships, just kind of, like, each of them, like, showing what's happening in their relationships. But no, you never actually get that. It feels just kind of like a missed opportunity, you know? Like, there's tons of conflict that could be here, and instead you just focus on the main characters. Which, I mean, you see the dynamic, you see their romance develop. And it's just, again, you just need that good communication. That's their big thing, is, like, she obviously has feelings for him. And I do like, at one point, her gal friends, like, confront her and are like, hey, if you have feelings for that guy, for the nerd, we'll support you, right? If you still want to go with the blonde-haired guy that you like, we'll support you, right? No matter what you choose, we're with you because we're friends. So it's like, okay, they do, like, definitely people are aware of it, but it just never goes anywhere. The love triangle, again, if people would just have an honest conversation, it would fix all of their problems. But it's clear that the childhood friend is going to lose at the end. Like, I've seen enough of these shows, right? Like, usually in an anime, especially a lot of these ones that don't have endings, you can tell, like, hey, this is the character that's obviously going to end up with the main character romantically. Usually it's not the child, right? There's a joke in anime that the childhood friend always loses. Like, the only example I can think of where the childhood friend doesn't lose is Infinite Stratos. And that never had an ending, but it's very obvious he's going to end up with the childhood friend. Other than that, like every other romance anime I can think of, no, the childhood friend always loses. Is this a gal? The one where the childhood friend becomes a yandere. And like there's demons and angels because why the fuck not? God, that show's ugh. God, that show. Other examples of bad anime that I can't think of the name of. But no, it was... Again, it had its moments. Can I think of any of those moments? No, not really. There's a lot of TNA. Oh, that's another thing I will say is there's a lot of TNA in the show. Which, I mean, again, if you're like 17, that's whatever. But for me being a little older, I'm like, ugh, whatever. Again, that's why... I was trying to think, like, what's a romance anime... Or what's a romance that I've been reading that doesn't do that? Or watching? Catch These Hands. That's a... You want a good romance anime without... Or romance manga without TNA? Catch These Hands is great. It's about, like... It's about two delinquents who, right, they're now in their early 20s, trying to, like... And the main character is trying to, like, move out of her delinquent lifestyle, trying to be more feminine, and she catches up with an old friend / rival, and yeah, and they end up they start dating and whatnot, and she's, like, struggling to be the romantic type. It is a lesbian relationship, and yeah, I was like, that's a good romance anime without any TNA, that also doesn't focus on teenagers. So they do definitely exist. But yeah. I don't know. I feel like I just haven't... Like... I feel like I haven't been watching anime recently. And it's been a lot because, you know, everything kind of just... Anime at the moment just kind of feels like, oh, we're just doing variants on the same thing. All romance animes are going to work like this. All fantasy animes are going to be some version of isekai. And while, yes, you can have fun isekais, and, like, there's one about, like, right, being reincarnated and becoming a farmer, that I'm like, oh, that seems kind of fun. Right, I like that idea. A lot of them is just, or, like, oh, what's the one? I reincarnated in another world, and I started a laundromat full of slimes. That was a show I watched. I do not remember the name of it, but I watched it. But I don't know. I feel like, yeah, a lot of the types of anime I like to watch have just kind of fallen into that holding pattern, and I refuse to start One Piece at least until next year. I've said once the strike is over, but we're still in that content drought, then I'll start reading One Piece. So probably early next year, because a bunch of movies and TV got delayed. So yeah, content drought, here we come. But the people need to get what they're due. So yeah, that's anime. Any final thoughts on any of those three shows? Out of the three, I definitely recommend Horimiya. And again, I think the second season of Demon King Academy and Horimiya are both airing, like, right now. As far as I know. Yeah, and there was another... I think it was... And, like, even, like, Demon King Academy, like... There was a similar-ish anime called, I'm Quitting Heroing, that I think did a similar-ish concept much better. I would recommend that one over... Where it's, like, it's still, like, you know, in that isekai-adjacent genre. But it just kind of does it better overall. Yeah, I'd recommend that one first. So, yeah. Anything else? Not that I can think of. I don't know. I'm trying to pick what show I'm going to watch next. So I guess that takes us to the outro. Wow, we went for an hour and a half. Doesn't surprise me. What are we doing next? So we'll be back with Pikmin at some point later in the week. I do not know when, but we will be back with more Pikmin. I just gotta find time. I don't think I'll be back tomorrow, but I might. I don't know. The problem is that if not, then we'll be back, like, next Sunday or whatever. It'll probably be a full week. But we'll finish Pikmin, and I'll get that all squared away. And then, honestly, once we're done with Pikmin, I don't have anything on the docket. Like, the next big thing I have on the stream docket is Spider-Man. And that's in, like, October. PS4 Spider-Man. Other than that, I don't have anything else. I'm not prepping anything else for the stream. I don't have any other big ideas. I mean, would I like to do the Stanley Parable at some point? Yes. Would I like to do other things that I'm sure I have on the docket? Yes, but I just don't know when I'll have the time. That's really kind of what it comes down to. My new work schedule is... we've talked about this before. It's just I'm starting later and I'm ending later, and that's going to be weird for the stream schedule. Yeah, I don't... Do I have... Yeah, no, I really don't have anything planned after Pikmin 4. Like, I don't know what our, like, November game is going to be. I will say I am, because of my new work schedule, I am considering moving the stream, moving in chat to Fridays again. I know we did it on Saturdays for a long time, because, you know, that just what was easy. That was easy for me to do. But with my new schedule, I'm like, yeah, you know, maybe I'll move it back to Friday nights. And that'd just be so much easier. And then maybe the normal stream will be on Saturday? If I'm doing weekly streams. Right? We do an in-chat on Friday, and we do a normal stream on Saturday. That's kind of what I'm thinking at the moment. Oh, yeah, I heard about... So supposedly the next Splatfest is money versus fame versus love. Which, I'll be honest, at first I didn't believe. Like, I saw like a tweet of it, and I was like, I don't think they do that as a Splatfest again. Because they did money versus love before. But no, it looks like that's real, and that's in like 2 weeks. It's like not far, even though we just did a Splatfest earlier this month. No, we're actually getting 2 in a row. Usually they do like a big run or something in between that. I do think the Splatoon DLC is coming. I do think the Splatoon DLC is probably going to be in September. There's a rumor going around right now that we'll get the Pokemon DLC maybe next month. In August. That's possible. And you know, if we get the Pokemon DLC, we'll do the because we streamed Scarlet and Violet. Honestly, I kind of forgot we streamed Scarlet and Violet, if I'm being honest. Like, I kind of forgot we did that. But we did. We love fame. I don't know. I don't know what team I'm doing. When I'm joining. Money, love, or fame. Yeah, no, I haven't decided. Yeah, so anything else? Anything else coming up on the stream soon? Anything else gotta worry about? No, not really, I guess. Pikmin... Do I have anything? No, I think that's it. I don't know. I'm definitely gonna be playing Link's Awakening soon, but we're not gonna stream. I keep saying that. I'm definitely gonna play Oracle of Ages and Seasons. I'm gonna play Seasons first, and then I'm gonna play Ages. At least that's my plan. Yeah, I don't really have plans for anything else on stream. We're definitely not streaming Starfield in September. I've said that multiple times. That's not something I do, and I don't want to start a playthrough of Skyrim. I did have the idea for a joke run of Skyrim, but I don't think I'm ever going to do that. That was more of like, hey, wouldn't this be funny? Oh god, Twitter is now... It's seeing the, like... So I have Twitter notifications turned on for one specific Twitter account, and it's so weird now, because it's no longer like the little bird. It's now like this X. And it just doesn't look... It looks so wrong. So, yeah. I don't know. Anything else I got? I don't know, I'm stalling at this point. I don't know. So yeah, I hope you all enjoyed. Stay tuned for more. Until next time. Peace.